it's about adventure. Like it's fun to go out and find something, a little piece of treasure.
Yeah.
That gets you out in the world and feeling alive, instead of, for me, which has been my biggest struggle for the last 15 years, sitting at a goddamn computer staring at the fucking magic rectangle all goddamn day.
Yeah.
And again, fulfilling to get work done, to make a YouTube video, to write a screenplay, no doubt about it. But man, does it become, it got one-dimensional for a long time.
Yeah. You didn't,
especially when you throw in social media,
yeah.
YouTube, all that stuff. It's just blue screen.
Yeah.
Magic rectangle.
I think one of the best things, it's funny though, because social media has, at its greatest potential, it is this amazing connecting force where you can connect all of these groups together and share common interests and communicate. But I had this experience the other day. I was just chatting with somebody, and it was tech support for literally tech support for an application that I was playing around with, and I was like one of the beta
testers
people on the app, and had like a back and forth thoughtful conversation with somebody about the product, like, oh hey, I think this, and they're like, oh my gosh, like this is really interesting, like what do you think about this? And it's like, oh well, this and this. And there was something really odd to, realize, oh man, this is like the full potential of online communication.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking to a person that's in Australia right now,
right,
who I would have never met.
Yeah. And
they built this cool app, or, their company built this cool app, and, it's a small team. Everybody knows everybody in the team. And yeah, now we're going back and forth about it. And there's something really cool about that. And it's just, but like social media in its current form, or in its current, like in the mainstream current form, is just corrupted. It's lost that.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist right now.
Yeah.
Not to say that somebody won't solve that, and that comes back at some point. I think we are just we're in an evolution, and eventually it's bound to kind of work its way back.
Yep.
Because I think a lot of people are feeling I think that's a distinction worth making in the argument. Is it's not like social media is such an easy bucket to throw it all into.
Sure.
Social media is bad. Getting off of social media is just helping. It's not like, I guess, social media or like internet, like being able to interact with people on the internet is not what needs to be taking the critique. Like that is an idea that still has a more perfect form, and that probably is incredibly useful. But it's this idea of the current form or the current execution of social media is so driven by incentives, or ego, or comparison, or these metrics that you're told that you need to care about, and it corrupts the whole beautiful experience of just sitting down, having a conversation, and enjoying it with a group of people. I think that's why group messages have become so popular over the last 5 to 10 years. Is most people are just like, group message is kind of like the experience of social media without all of the BS.
Well, and even beyond just social media being the big lure to the magic rectangle, for me, it's also just that the software tools, are so powerful. You can create an entire album as a single musician using these digital instruments, whether it's GarageBand or Logic or Pro Tools or whatever. Drawing, painting, there's so much of a translation of something that's done in the real tangible world that can be done. It's like that Apple did one of their events, and they showed all these amazing objects that help you make art, and a piano and paint and paintbrushes and all this stuff. And they had it all sitting under a giant hydraulic press, and they smash all these items. And then the iPad comes up, or it comes up and the iPad's there. And they actually removed it from the replay of the YouTube video because there was so much backlash about crushing all those things to just like simplify it down to an iPad.
Magic rectangle.
Now I have an iPad, and yeah, it is a magic rectangle. It does a lot of things.
It's great.
It's great. You have one. You can read on it, all this stuff. And I'm going hard on it right now, but I'm like, I want to get up and go flip this record over. I want to draw on a piece of paper or write my ideas on a notebook or use a typewriter.
For what an iPad, there's a lot of things that you can do on an iPad that you can't do with anything else.
Sure.
And it's the best at those things.
Yeah.
But it's not, it's not going to replace everything. Like like you said. Sometimes it's a better experience to draw on a piece of paper, or type out on a typewriter, or put on a record and listen to it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much something about not only the inconvenience of some of these tangible tools, but there's also something about just like physically touching something that isn't a flat piece of glass. And the software, the magic software inside of it that you're manipulating to make something.
It's really funny. I think we're gonna. Obviously, I don't know where the world is going, but I think an interesting direction would be we're at the starting point of synthesis between digital and analog.
Yes.
And we've talked about this for 3 years, 4 years, but we'll see how it plays out. And it's interesting because you've got, large language models and
but then
all of these interesting things.
Kids using digicams,
I'm interested to see, what is like, and market dynamics are going to drive a lot of this, at least at the beginning. If it's profitable, it'll happen. And if it's not profitable, it might not, but there could be an undercurrent that eventually kind of overtakes that. But I think the interesting point is, it's so funny because we were listening to that little podcast clip when you walked in, and we're talking about the synthesis happens when the real world starts to interact.
Yeah, I
think we're gonna have the most interesting timeline in my head is where we do start to. We have respect for, you hear it all the time, like the atoms and the bits, but we start to have respect for them both. The physical world, we want to make that as enjoyable and interesting as possible. And in the digital world, how can we complement the physical world with the digital world? And then likewise, how can we complement the digital world with the physical world?
Right. Yes.
And there's a synthesis, whereas prior to the digital world, all we knew was the physical world.
Right. And
then the digital world comes into view, and suddenly our inclination as a society, as a world, is this is so much better for everything. Everything needs to be digital.
Right.
And then we kind of learn the lesson. Oh man, there's something missing here. Like there's something that just feels off. And so now we start to create. And that's going to be exciting if that actually comes to fruition, because, there's so many things where, I love being able to sit at that desk with a typewriter and listen to whatever on the radio or whatever, but I have an Apple TV on and have Wi-Fi, and I can grab anything I want anytime, and I can host things in the cloud. I can store things on my own server. I can go on YouTube and find anything.
But
we can make a podcast.
A true synthesis here.
It had been a golden afternoon, and I remember having the familiar conviction that life was beginning over again with the summer.